Have you ever pondered the profound question, what is the striking hour? As we embark on this enlightening journey, we'll explore Surah Al-Qari'ah, the 101st chapter of the Quran, to answer this question. This Meccan surah, revealed in the city of Mecca, holds a special place in the Holy Quran. The striking hour, or Al-Qari'ah, is a metaphorical term, synonymous with the Day of Judgment. This day is depicted as a sudden calamity, striking without warning, changing the course of life as we know it. The significance of this surah lies in its vivid depiction of the apocalypse, reminding us of the transient nature of life and the inevitability of the end. It serves as a powerful reminder to lead a life of righteousness, for the scales of justice will weigh our deeds on that fateful day. As we delve into the verses of Surah Al-Qari'ah, we invite you to reflect on its deep meanings and the lessons we can draw from it. The surah begins with the words Al-Qari'ah, translated as the striking calamity. The first verse of Surah Al-Qari'ah echoes through the ages, a profound call that has reverberated since its revelation. Imagine, if you will, a calamity so immense, so overwhelming, that it shakes the very foundations of existence. This is the essence of Al-Qari'ah, a term so powerful that it is both the name of this surah and its opening declaration. In the Quran, the use of such a potent term is not without purpose. Al-Qari'ah is a reference to the Day of Judgment, a day that every soul will witness, a day of reckoning that will be as striking and as sudden as the calamity it is named after. The second verse of the surah reinforces this concept, stating, "What is the striking calamity?" This rhetorical question serves to emphasize the magnitude of the event. It's a query that prompts introspection, urging us to ponder on the enormity of that day. In its essence, Al-Qari'ah symbolizes a cataclysmic event, a day where the regular order of things will be disrupted, where the scales of justice will be set, and every deed, whether significant or seemingly insignificant, will be accounted for. The profound impact of this day is beyond human comprehension. It is a day that will strike awe and fear, a day of ultimate justice where the worth of every human action will be measured. And yet, within this stark reminder of accountability, there is also a message of hope. For those who have led lives of righteousness, the Day of Judgment is not merely a day of fear, but a day of ultimate reward. It is a day where the seeds of good deeds sown in the soil of this worldly life will bear the fruit of eternal reward. The first two verses serve as a stark reminder of the inevitable Day of Judgment. Through this understanding, we begin to appreciate the depth of these opening verses, setting the stage for the rest of the surah and indeed for our understanding of life, accountability, and the hereafter. The third and fourth verses continue with, "What is the striking hour? And what will make you know what the striking hour is?" Now let's delve deeper into these verses. The questions posed here are rhetorical in nature, which means they are not meant to solicit actual responses. Rather, their purpose is to emphasize the significance and the magnitude of the Day of Judgment. In the Arabic language, these rhetorical questions are a powerful tool used to stress the importance of a subject. The repeated questioning serves to underscore the enormity and gravity of the striking hour. The third verse asks, "What is the striking hour?" This question is not seeking an answer, but rather it is highlighting the enormity of the event it refers to. The striking hour, or Al-Qari'ah, is none other than the Day of Judgment. The rhetorical question implies that the Day of Judgment is an event so colossal and significant that it cannot be encapsulated by a simple explanation. The fourth verse goes a step further and asks, "And what will make you know what the striking hour is?" This question implies that understanding the true nature and scale of the Day of Judgment is beyond human comprehension. It's as if the verse is saying, you cannot comprehend the enormity of the striking hour no matter what is explained to you. These verses beautifully encapsulate the awe-inspiring and overwhelming nature of the Day of Judgment. By posing these rhetorical questions, the verses force us to reflect upon the magnitude of that day. They serve as a stark reminder of the ultimate reality that awaits us all, a reality that is far beyond our earthly understanding. These verses do not intend to instill fear, but rather to inspire introspection and self-accountability. They encourage us to look beyond our worldly existence and to reflect on the ultimate reality that awaits us. In conclusion, the third and fourth verses of Surah Al-Qari'ah serve as a powerful reminder of the Day of Judgment. They emphasize the unfathomable nature of that day, urging us to reflect on our actions and our ultimate accountability. These verses emphasize the unfathomable nature of the Day of Judgment. It is a day where mankind will be like moths, dispersed. This verse, the 5th verse of Surah Al-Qari'ah, paints a vivid image of the Day of Judgment. Think about moths for a moment. They are creatures that flutter about seemingly without purpose, aimlessly dispersed in the air. This is the metaphor the Quran uses to describe mankind on the Day of Judgment. It is a powerful image, one that speaks volumes about the chaos and disarray that will mark that day. We often place such great importance on our status in this world. We strive for power, wealth, and recognition. We seek to stand out, to be seen, to matter. But on the Day of Judgment, the Quran tells us, we will be like moths, aimless, dispersed, insignificant. This metaphor is not meant to belittle us, but to humble us. It is a reminder of our true status in the grand scheme of existence. No matter our accomplishments or our possessions in this life, on the Day of Judgment we will all be the same. We will all be like moths, dispersed and aimless, our worldly status rendered meaningless. The only thing that will matter then is our deeds and our faith. This verse is a call to introspection. It urges us to reflect on our priorities and our actions. Are we living our lives in a way that will matter in the grand scheme of existence? Or are we too attached to our worldly status, too consumed by our quest for power and wealth? It is a reminder to shift our focus from the transient to the eternal, from the worldly to the spiritual. It is a call to strive for what truly matters, our faith, our deeds, our character. Remember, on the Day of Judgment, we will all be like moths, dispersed and aimless. Our worldly status will mean nothing. So let us strive to live our lives in a way that will truly matter, in a way that will bring us closer to our Creator. The metaphor serves as a humbling reminder of our true status in the grand scheme of existence. The surah concludes with the final verses, "And the mountains will be like carded wool." Here, the Surah Al-Qari'ah uses an impactful metaphor to depict the severity of the Day of Judgment. The mountains, these massive structures of strength and stability, symbols of permanence and endurance in the Arab culture, will be transformed to something as light and delicate as carded wool. The metaphor of mountains being like wool is profound. Imagine the grandeur of a mountain, its weight, its firmness being reduced to the lightness of wool. This is not ordinary wool, but carded wool, which is cleaned, untangled, and prepared for use. It's so light that a mere breeze can carry it away. This comparison is a powerful illustration of the tremendous happenings on the Day of Judgment, a day when the norms of the physical world will be upended. It's a day when the unthinkable becomes reality, when the mountains, which we associate with solidity and immovability, will become like carded wool, fragile and weightless. The mention of mountains is significant in the Arabian context, as they are a prominent feature of the landscape. They are seen as a symbol of security, permanence, and grandeur. So, to think of them being reduced to carded wool, something so light and transient, is to grasp the enormity of the Day of Judgment. This transformation of mountains is more than a physical change. It signifies a complete alteration of the world as we know it, a world where the impossible becomes possible, and the permanent becomes transient. The surah uses this imagery not just to instill a sense of awe and fear, but also to remind us of the transient nature of this world. It emphasizes that the ultimate reality is not this world, but the hereafter, the Day of Judgment, when every action will be weighed and every soul will be held accountable. These verses serve as a powerful conclusion, highlighting the complete transformation that the Day of Judgment will bring. Having walked through Surah Al-Qari'ah verse by verse, what reflections can we draw? This profound surah centers around the Day of Judgment, a day of unparalleled upheaval. It is a stark reminder of the transient nature of worldly possessions and the eternal significance of our deeds. The surah impresses upon us the weight of our actions, painting a vivid picture of scales that will measure our deeds. Those whose scales are heavy with good deeds will find themselves in a life of bliss, while those with light scales, reflecting a life of negligence, face a deep abyss. This surah urges us to introspect, to evaluate our lives not by the worldly standards of success, but by the weight of our good deeds. It is a call to prepare for that inevitable day, to strive for a balance that leans towards kindness, compassion, and righteousness. May this exploration of Surah Al-Qari'ah serve as a reminder for us all about the inevitable day of judgment and inspire us to live our lives in a manner pleasing to our Creator.